video, we're going to go over, how to solve exponential equations when you're unable to rewrite the bases. So let me show you what we did before break. If you guys remember this, if you take a look, If you take a look at number 1, do you see how we rewrote 256 with the same base of 4? Then in number 2, we rewrote 36 with the same base of 6. It's okay, Minerva, if you don't remember how to do it. Actually, you have the most of these questions done out of the entire class on the Delta Math Link, so good on you. All right. We'll be reviewing this next week, so don't worry, we're going to review it again before the test. But what I'm trying to show you is if we're unable to rewrite these with the same base, then we have to use a different strategy to solve these. We have to use the inverse operation of the exponential function, which is a logarithm. So all that work we've been talking about with logs is going to come into play here. So the first thing I'm going to do in number 1 is, you guys see this 9? How would I move that 9 to the other side? Not subtract. Very good. Division is right. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9. Make sure you're writing small on this. All right, make sure you're writing small. So 2 to the 4x power equals 1/9. And I'm just going to leave 1/9 alone right now. I don't know what 1/9 is. As a decimal, it's like 0.1 repeating, I think. But just leave it alone. Okay? So if this was going to be like what we did before break, I would have to rewrite that 1/9 with a base of 2, which I'm unable to do. All right? So since I'm unable to rewrite with the same base, this is where I'm going to take the log of both sides. So go ahead and write down log of 2 to the 4x power equals the log of 1/9. Now notice I wrote log. Did I put a base? Did I put a base for that log? No. So what is the base if I didn't put a base for that log? It's 10. Very good. This is a base 10 log. The reason I'm doing this is because the calculators that you're using can only do base 10 logs. Right? You can also do natural logs, which we'll do in a second, I think, with number 2. But in terms of the common log, that's all it can do. Okay? So now, do you remember one of our properties from before break that allows me to do something with this 4x? Do you remember where I can put that 4x that's in the power? Where can I move it? To the, no, not to the bottom. I'm going to move it somewhere, not to the bottom. Somebody said it? To the front. Very good. So this moves to the front, and it now multiplies by that log. I know, right? God, math is amazing. Okay. Now, I know you don't know what the log of 2 is. I don't either. But it's just some number. All right? So really, when I look at this, how to find x by itself, I just need to get rid of that 4 and get rid of that log of 2. How is everything connected on this side? How is everything connected on this left side? What operation is connecting everything? Multiplication. On the left side, the equal side is multiplication. So how do I move the stuff over that I don't want on the left side? What's the inverse operation of multiplication? Is division. So I'm going to divide. You're good. It's just the first one. I'm going to divide by 4, right? I'm going to move the 4 over. And I'm also going to divide by the log of 2. I'm going to try to help you guys in your calculator to get this answer. Okay, does everyone have this written down? Does everyone have it written down? If you have your calculator, hopefully you have it. Turn it on now. Turn your calculator on. I'm going to try to help you guys what I should see in your calculator to get this answer right. I know I'm using a different calculator, but you should be able to do this in yours. Okay, so the first thing that you should do in your calculator, do you need one, guys? Do you have a calculator? You need one? Do you need one?
Oh.
Everyone got one? Do you need one too, Luke? Yours? Oh, I'm sorry, Luke. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is hit the N over D button. You see the N over D button? Do you see the N over D button? That makes a fraction. You guys should have a fraction now, right? So in the numerator, you're going to click log. So click the log button. Does it make parentheses immediately when you do that? Okay, so you should have parentheses and have 1/9. And you can do that n over d button again in the parentheses to make it a fraction. Does everyone have that in the numerator? Yeah. Does everyone have that? Okay, in the denominator, it says 4 times the log of 2. So you're going to do 4, then hit the log button again, and then you'll have do you have parentheses? Yes? Log of 2. And then when you hit enter, you should get what I just got.
No, it's wrong.
Oh, sad. Everyone get it? You got it? So as a rounded value, when I write down the answer, right, Delta Math's going to ask you to do this because it says round to the nearest hundredth, right? When I write this as an answer to the nearest hundredth, I'm going to put negative 0.792. So this is what I'm writing in my answer, okay? Everybody good? Okay, once you finish writing this, put your pencil or pen down. I'm going to show you something cool, or I think it's cool. So, Minerva will find it cool, but everyone else won't. There it is. Okay, you guys ready? Okay, remember, what was the original problem?
9
times 2 to the power 4. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to write down 9 times 2. Remember, you're not doing this. All right? To the power 4. And then my x rounded is this value. And what did I get?
I can't really see.
It's which is 0.9999 is essentially 1. Why didn't I get 1? I was supposed to get 1, right? Why didn't I get 1? Because even though a lot of students think that this number is not rounded, technically is it rounded? Yes, because this number goes on forever. So if you wanted to get exactly 1, you'd have to put in that entire log, this thing right here. So if I put this thing right here, if I put this thing in my exponent, multiply by that 4, I would get 1. Everybody good? Do you have to do that? No, I'm just showing you. I think this is pretty cool. I enjoy doing that. All right, checking your answer. All right. Any questions on number 1? Any questions on number 1?
No.
Let's go number 2. Excellent. Number 2. Yes. E.
No.
One of my favorite letters.
I thought it was F.
Those are some of my favorite F words, right? Function, factoring, yes, right? All right. Is there a number in front of my E? There is. So how do I move that 2 over? Divide. If you wanted to write 97/2 as a decimal, feel free to, but I'm going to keep it as a fraction. Okay, now, what we did in number 1 was I wrote log log, right, for both sides. But this is a special case. So when you get this on your Delta Math link and you see that your base is not a number, it's E, I want you to use a special logarithm, right? Think of my things whenever I go to parks, right? I love the natural logarithms. All right, so you're going to write ln on both sides. ln stands for natural logarithm. ln stands for natural logarithm.
Wait.
Yes.
How do you know when to use log and L?
Great question. When do I always use natural log? ln. When do I know to use that? The E, when I see E. If this doesn't say E, if that just said like 6 to the power of 2x, then you can use log log.
Oh, so the letter determines
If I'm going to be honest with you, Miriam, when I learned this in high school, I actually used the natural log on all of them. Right? But most of my students prefer to use the common log. So they can use the common log anytime you want, but when it says E, use the natural log. Okay? What do I do with that 2x? What do I do with that 2x? Move it to the front. All right, and then how did I get rid of all that stuff that was with the x on that last one? I divided. So I'm going to divide by 2 and the natural log of e. Now, one little thing before I go to type it in, and it's okay if you don't know this. I'll try to teach it to you right now. All right, but the natural log of e is actually something I know. All right, so a little sidebar here. The natural log of e is question mark. I actually know what this is. Do you guys know what the base of the natural log is? There's nothing written there, but what is the base of a natural log? No, that's the base of the common log. No, it's one of my favorite letters. What letter have we been talking about? E! Oh my goodness. The knights who say E, right? So the natural log, well, so E is a number, right? But it's a letter. It's confusing. E is approximately 2.7183, all right? It's like pi. It goes on forever. So if I wrote an E there, do you remember what we did before break where I swooped? Remember swooping?
Yeah.
So if I swoop and do E to the question mark equals E, E to the question mark equals E, what does my question mark have to be? No, what you're thinking too hard. It is the exponent. E to what power makes E? No, not E to the second power. E to the first power. So the natural log of E is just 1. If you don't know that, it's okay. But I want to make sure why I'm writing this. In my calculator, all I'm doing is dividing by 2. Is it okay if you divide it by 2 times the natural log of E? Absolutely. See what I did? All right, because the natural log of E is 1. I said, if you divide by the 2 times the natural log of E, absolutely. No. Yeah. It was a tough one. As my son Henry would say, dad jokes are bad jokes.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's why he's not going to get any money to go to college. All right.
So
Well, I got 3 others. All right, hit the N over D button. Hit the N over D button. In the numerator, you're going to need to put natural log. You see how there's another button that says LN? Do you guys see that button? Hit that button. Does it do parentheses as well?
Yeah.
So
LN is for natural law.
yes, LN is for natural. It's because it's Latin for natural log, whatever in Latin. So when they did this hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they were speaking Latin, not English, when they did that math. So that's why it's LN and not NL. Good question. Over. Watch this. So if you wrote 2 times the natural log of E, but I wrote just 2. You ready for this? You get the same thing because the natural log of E is 1. So it's okay if you don't recognize that, but the natural log of E is 1. All right. So Miriam, that's why I'm going to recommend when you see the E, you're thinking natural log. Any questions on number 2? That is 1.941. 1.941 approximately. 1.941.
Wait, what did you put on the denominator?
Great question. So you could put 2 times, here, why don't I zoom in? You can put 2 times the natural log of E, or you can just put 2 because the natural log of E is 1. So 2 times 1 is just 2.
But is that always going to be the case?
Yes, the natural log of E is always 1.
Okay.
Always. Take it to the bank.
The number?
Correct.
Okay.
Or, but as I showed you, if you forget and still put the natural log of E, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change the value.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's okay. Ah! Whew. That was close. Okay. Can we do one more? You guys ready for one more? Yes, one more. Thank you, Samantha. Last one, and then you guys are going to get 25 minutes to try. Yes. Yay. I'm excited. Gosh, I love this. Okay. How do I move that 45 to the other side? How do I move that 45? Very good. Divide. I do love division.
No, Michael said that.
Yeah, Michael, what up? I think we actually know this one. What's 450 divided by 45? It's 10. Nice. Now, do you see that this one doesn't have the letter E? So what am I going to use in terms of my, ooh, interesting. Actually, do I even need the logarithm? No, because what do you notice about my bases? They're the same. So this has to be equal to what's out there. And what's out there if there's nothing on the right side? Not 0, because 10 to the 0 power is 1. Not 10, it would say 10 to the 10th power. What does it mean? It's the first power. So technically, you could just write x over 4 equals 1. How do you move that over 4 part to the right side? Multiply by 4. So times 4. Nice. What'd you say, Gladys? X equals C. All right, so I put that on there just to kind of try to mess with your brain. All right, we didn't even need the logarithm. But if you did, do you want me to show if you didn't recognize it? Like what would happen if you did the log?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you didn't recognize it and you did this. Stop going away. Stop disappearing. You see it keeps disappearing on me? Okay. Why do you hate me so much? Come back.
Sorry, guys.
I got it.
A little bit of
Technical difficulties. That's right. Don't unsubscribe. Okay, so move the x to the over 4 in front. Everyone okay? All right, now this one's a little trickier. If I'm going to get rid of that log of 10, I'm going to move it over by dividing. Right? And what do you notice about that log of 10 divided by the log of 10? What's this? Just 1. So now you have x over 4 equals 1. And aren't we back to where we were? Didn't we end up in the same spot? Right? Same as that. All right. Any questions on number 3? That one is a pretty tricky one.